Yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing? You off? Good, mate.
I saw that picture on the website.
You alright?
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah.
First I thought that's a good thing, and I thought
It's having a bit. we got to sort some butcher out.
Could you put a picture on the other side? Don't you have to put a picture on the inside?
Oh well, put something in there.
Thanks everyone, David, for the fourth test here in Manchester. Pat Cummins, Australian captain, to answer your questions. Who'd like to lead us off? We've got the microphone yet, Sam. Dan down the back.
Well, Pat, have you settled on 11 yet?
Yeah, we have, but we haven't let the players know yet. So we'll keep that till later today or maybe the toss. But Joshy will come in for Scotty bowling, and top order will stay the same. So.
Would it be fair then to suggest that it's between Cameron Brown and Todd Murphy for the last one?
Yeah, that's part of the conversation for sure. How do two all-rounders fit in? It's been going to be important this week. So, yeah, that's part of the stuff that we work through.
Nasha, you?
Ben Stokes a few minutes ago spoke about how they know that they're going to have to play with the weather in mind. They have to win to keep the Ashes alive. How much focus are you going to give that, and how quickly would a draw come into your mind, knowing that would retain the Ashes?
I think the first preference is always try and win. We drew the 2019 series, and we've all come back with pretty clear that we want to win this one. I think it's one of those things as the game progresses, you maybe start working out, how risky you want to be. Looking at the forecast, it looks like it's okay. So I'm sure we'll get a match in.
Just to follow on, are you prepared for England to maybe do some quite funky stuff because they have to win? They've already shown they play that style of game. Do you think it could get really quite strange this week?
I hope so. It'd be fun. Prepared for anything really. So we'll see how it plays out. We've already seen a lot of different things from both teams this series. So I'm sure this one will be another cracker with some random stuff thrown up. We'll see.
Where do you think the series ranks? I know there's still 2 tests to go, but is this already on course, or is it already better than 2005, do you think? I know you don't want it to go to a decider, but if it does that sort of wrap it up as maybe the best series in your lifetime?
I'm probably not the right person to ask because I didn't really watch much of that series. I think I was 11 or 12 in different time zones. So I think speaking to the amount of people, even just on the streets or around the stadium, how highly everyone's speaking about the series and how much they're loving it. It's awesome. I've never been part of a series where it's had that much positive attention. And as a player, outside of World Cups, it doesn't get any bigger than really an Ashes series, and this one just seems that little bit. Seems to have been dialed up a little bit more than perhaps last one. So, I think we win this, it'd be kind of right up there.
Sorry, can I go one more? That's all right. Just on Travis Head's bowling, is that sort of like? Do you feel like he's come along a fair way with his bowling in the last couple of years? Like obviously he took a lot of wickets in Gore last year, but it's got to the point now where you could rely on him quite heavily in conditions over here. I guess you did somewhat at Lords.
Yeah, I think so. Even when he started his career with Australia, he was basically the frontline spinner in ODI cricket. Bowled 10 overs quite a bit. And I think he's got better and better. So, when Nate's played, obviously he hasn't had to bowl much, but he still provides something a little bit different to Nate, so we have used him a little bit. But, really confident. I think he defends himself well, uses a bit of drift, as much as spin, and he's played a lot, he's quite clever. So, lots of confidence in his bowling. And, he's got Smithy and Marnie there that can bowl some leggies too.
Brett, in the middle.
Just on that, Pat, Marnus was bowling leg spin after quite a while, and was a sign that, was he just pushing you to maybe give him a go at some point, or was it like he was asked to do that? practices next week?
He's always pushed me to bowl him. No, I think he's bowled leg spin the whole series. I keep telling him to bowl leg spin rather than his offies or his pace up that he tells me are as good as anyone else in the world. But I haven't told him anything different this week.
Sorry, just on Travis Head and his growth as a batter in the last 18 months, but he's played influential innings in different conditions. Like, can you just talk about that and the confidence that has grown within the camp about him in different conditions and in different circumstances as well?
Yeah, he's been just about our best, most important batter the last couple of years. He's been player of the series a couple of times. For someone who's still in his 20s, I think he's played over 100 first-class games. He came into the Australian team off the back of lots of first-class runs for South Australia and county runs as well. So, yeah, he just looks like to me, an old seasoned pro that knows where to score his runs. It looks a bit different to perhaps some other people, but I think that's been a real strength over the last couple of years. Is he might get out in ways that doesn't look pleasing to the eye, but he scores a lot of runs like that. And that's kind of our job, is to make sure he's thinking that way, because we really don't care how he gets out. We know he's scores plenty of runs.
Pat, there's been a huge amount of talk from the outside about David Warner heading into this Test match. Firstly, can you understand that? And secondly, how much backing does he have from you and the rest of the team?
I can understand discussion about anyone really, especially after a loss. I think David didn't have his best game last week at Headingley, but prior to that, I thought he's looked really good. I think he's had 3 50-run partnerships, which can be rare over here in England. So I thought the way that he and Uzi have started off innings, prior to that, has been really important to setting up our innings. Steve Smith got a great 100 at Lords. A lot of that was off the back of a really important first session from the openers. But no, we back Davey. Absolutely. We know how tough it can be to open over here. I'm sure he's doing all the right things. He's shown some great signs, and it feels like a big score's just around the corner.
Louis?
Just clarifying what you said before, you said that the top order wouldn't change for this test. Does that mean, Green were to come in bat into the bottom 4?
He wouldn't bat in the top 5.
Right. So top order is top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just ask about Marnus Lavishane? Obviously has been working a lot in the lead into this game. Are you kind of heartened by the fact that he's not getting out? Like Warner kind of to getting out pretty early. Like if he's getting starts, you kind of heartened that a big score might be there for the taking of that.
Yeah, and I think Davey's got starts as well prior to last week. So he's a class player. He knows how to score runs. So even sometimes he walks off and he might not feel like he's batted well, but he's found a way to get to 20 or 30, and that's what you want from any batter, really. So, he's been tinkering like he always does. I think it's been good to have a week off for everyone just to refresh and come back and with a clear mind and clear plans. And I thought he's looked decent.
Dan over on the left here.
Just one again about Dave. Also, I guess looking at his body of work over the last 2 or 3 years is one of the reasons why he's sort of still there, despite maybe not having the returns of some of the other guys, because he has that match-winning capacity, the ability to sort of take a game away from the team quite quickly. We've spoken about it before, and we've said that that's in their thinking in terms of England, that they still like to see the back of him because they know that he's got that in.
For sure, that's certainly a part of it. Again, I think it is a tough role, and some of the roles that he's had to play are in tough times. This series hasn't been easy for Uzi and Dave in particular when they've walked out to bat a few times under lights. I think the other one is whenever he might not have scored the test runs he would have liked in the last couple of years, but you go to ODI cricket, T20, and he's still showing his class. Still scoring plenty of runs each year. So we're really happy with how he's going. I'm sure like everyone else would love if he scored a few more runs, but the job that he's doing is a tough one. I think he's doing it really well.
Over here.
If I can just take you out of this series for a second, just your reaction to Victoria's decision to drop the Commonwealth Games. So I guess that was something that the Australian women's team were probably pretty hyped about, and would you like to see whoever takes that on keep cricket in the Commonwealth Games for women?
I can't say I've given that any thought, but yeah, I think we won the gold last time over here in Birmingham, didn't we? So yeah, I hope cricket stays, but yeah, no real opinion.
Pat, England will give the new ball in this test to a guy who turns 41 on Saturday, and Stuart Broad is a youngster at 37. Would it be key for you to try and detain England in the field as long as possible to make their seam attack feel every one of their 30 plus 8 years?
I think it's always part of the conversation, not necessarily just because of their age, but you know, most attacks, the more overs you put into them, can lose effectiveness. So you know, Stuart Broad's obviously had a big workload this series. So yeah, not specific to their age, but just you know, we're in no rush. 5 days is a long time to play, and hopefully, you know, that means plenty of overs. It means plenty of overs, but yeah.
And just as a brief follow-up, can you envisage yourself trying to make the new ball talk when you're 41 years old?
I'm 30, I feel 41, so probably not. But yeah, I mean, incredible feat to be still top of the game, still one of the best bowlers in the world at 41, and Broad, you know, high 30s. That's a serious achievement. Yeah, I think, you know, Mitchell Stark's up to 80 odd tests, and that's, I think, puts him the second most fast bowler and second most tests for a fast bowler in Australia. And to see those guys double that's impressive.
On the right, get that.
Sorry, but just to confirm, are you considering going into this game without the frontline spinner Todd Murphy?
Yeah, considering everything, yeah.
And presumably if Nathan Lyon was here, he'd be playing regardless. Todd only bowled 2 overs in the second innings at Headingley. So the fact that you're even thinking about leaving him out, what does that say about your confidence in him and how you might manage him if he does play?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Lyon's probably the greatest off spinner we've ever had. So yeah, it's not quite apples for apples, but you know, we're really excited by Todd. We think he's fantastic. Yeah, would love to use him a bit more last week. I think the conditions just favoured pace bowling. You know, we played a test match in Hobart last year in the Ashes where Nate didn't bowl N over, sorry. So it's all conditions based. We're really excited by Toddy. We think he's a gun. We love having him around. He's got a big future. So yeah, it was more of a slide on conditions or the way I used him as opposed to how he bowled.
Rambo up back left.
To bang on about the weather that we are in Manchester. So the fact that you might be coming on an awful lot in a match, in a game, if you draw, you retain the trophy. Is it a challenge to be the mindset that you don't relapse into a kind of defensive mode, coming on and off, thinking that we have to get through this game? Is that something you have to be aware of, keeping the truth up and about?
Yeah, potentially. I think any players at their best when they're trying to win a game, compete. So again, it's one of those things you just can't think about too much. You know, forecasts aren't necessarily that accurate. Things change quickly, so you go out and win it. And if there's a big shift in conditions and you need to change the way we think about it, we do. But it's way too early to start thinking about that.
Yeah, it is.
I know you're very useful by English bowling standards, but what you put into your role I think is incredible. You do a remarkable job for your country, fast bowling, doing all the media captaincy. I know you've had a few days off, which I'm sure was great, but what gives you fundamentally the energy, the mental energy to keep going with all this? Because it's something that, you know, it's really unusual for you to have this workload in every sensitive country.
Yeah, I think I've got better at it. You know, a bit more, I guess, deliberate in where I put my energy and time. And, you know, I love it. You know, I love playing cricket. It's still the main reason why I do it. It's, you know, still remember me as a kid going out there wanting to play and win games for Australia. So, you know, the bowling can drain energy, but really I love it. You know, I don't find it a chore or something hard to do. So yeah, you know, I missed IPL this year for that reason, to try and make sure that when I came into this series I was as fresh as I could be. And yeah, I feel really good, and just those little windows like the last week, just make sure I completely decompress, get away from it, so when I do come back I'm recharged and ready to go.
Or were those imaginary games, this kind of scenario? Ashes winning opportunity?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was always against England in the backyard. So yeah, it doesn't get any better, and that's something that hopefully we don't lose sight of, is, you know, what an incredible opportunity to be playing an Ashes series, but in such a well-watched, well-supported one. A great against, you know, a really awesome opposition. So yeah, I think we're 6 weeks in. A lot of the conversation this week has been, geez, it's gone really quick. It's been the best 6 weeks. So hopefully finish off well.
Last one over here.
You mentioned how good the week off was. How much does the fact that the next 2 games are so closely back to back affect your selection for this game, looking at the Oval Test as well?
It doesn't really affect this match. I think more for the next games where you might factor in, but yeah, having the week off, everyone feels really fresh. There's no injury concerns, so you can kind of, you know, just pick your best 11, and then yeah, if you need to adjust it after this week, yeah, you adjust it for the next one.
Last one, just here, sir.
You mentioned earlier the disappointment of drawing the series in 2019 and that being a motivation this year. Steve Smith has described it as a bucket list to win a series, an Ashes series here. So would you sacrifice the chance of drawing the series for the chance to win it, if you get what I mean? Would it?
Yeah. It might be more of a question for next week, but again, I think it could be one of a million different variations or variables that kind of changes the decision, and yeah, it's just too early to say. You know, maybe day 3, day 4, as the game's balancing, you kind of can weigh that up. But yeah, at the moment, just looking to win. Yeah, don't really trust the forecast. I think we're going to get a full game in. So yeah, cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess. Sorry.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yeah, either in that room now or we're going to the river.